I was watching a cooking video when I saw my husband's hand in another woman's kitchen. He had told me, "I'm working late." Then her little girl called him inside like family. So I opened a fake account and that was how my marriage ended. Not with lipstick on a shirt. Just a normal video. A woman was making dinner in a cozy kitchen, laughing while a little boy asked if he could have extra cheese. A little girl was coloring at the table. The camera shook a little as the woman reached for something near the stove. Then, for maybe 3 seconds, a man's hand reached into the cabinet behind her and grabbed plates. I stopped breathing. I knew that hand. I know how ridiculous that sounds. A hand in a blurry video should not be enough to destroy 8 years of marriage. But I knew the scar near his thumb. I knew the way his wedding ring sat loose because he hated tight jewelry. My husband, Andrew, was supposed to be in Nashville for work. The woman who posted the video was in Raleigh. At first, I told myself I was losing my mind. I replayed the clip until my eyes hurt, trying to convince myself it was just a similar hand, a similar shirt, a similar voice in the background saying, "Grab the napkins too." But my body already knew. Andrew texted me that night. "Long day. I'm exhausted. Wish I was home." I stared at the message while the video sat frozen on my phone. My fingers hovered over the keyboard. I almost typed, "Are you really in Nashville?" But something stopped me. Fear, maybe. Or instinct. Some part of me knew that if I asked too soon, he would clean up whatever trail he had left behind. So I answered like a normal wife. "Get some rest. Love you." He sent back a heart. I barely slept. The next morning, I went back to the woman's profile. Her name was Megan. Her videos were not scandalous. She posted dinners, school lunches, grocery hauls, messy living room clips, and little updates about her kids. That made it worse. She did not look like a secret. She looked like a home. I scrolled carefully, looking for anything that could explain what I saw. In one video, her daughter was dancing in the kitchen and bumped into a man's leg. The camera tilted down for half a second. Brown boots. Andrew's boots had a scrape across the left toe from when he dropped something heavy in our garage. I stared at that scrape until my stomach turned. Then I found another video. Megan's son was sitting at the table with a school project, talking about planets. In the background, beside the sink, was a travel mug with a dent near the lid and a faded sticker peeling from the side. Andrew's travel mug. I had bought it for him years ago. He used it constantly. I had washed it before he packed his bag for the trip he claimed was in Nashville. That was when suspicion became panic. I set the phone down and walked through the house without knowing what I was looking for. I opened the fridge, closed it, checked the laundry room, looked at his side of the closet. His work jacket was gone. His overnight bag was gone. His boots were gone. Of course they were gone. He was supposed to be traveling. But now every normal thing looked like evidence. I checked the calendar. Nashville was listed there. 3 days. Work meeting. He had even added a hotel name, which made me feel foolish for doubting him. Then I searched for the hotel confirmation on the tablet we both use sometimes. Nothing. I checked the shared credit card next. Most of his travel expenses never showed there, but a few small charges did. Gas. A convenience store. A casual restaurant. All near Raleigh. I sat at the kitchen table with my phone in my hand, feeling like the floor had shifted under me. We had been married 8 years. 8 years of ordinary mornings, grocery lists, late-night shows, small arguments, family holidays, and me believing distance was just something that happened when life got busy. For the past year, I had blamed myself for the way he pulled away. I thought I was too anxious, too tired, too focused on trying to get pregnant. Every negative test made me feel like I had failed both of us. Andrew would hug me and say, "We have time," but his voice always sounded far away. I thought pain had made him quiet. I never imagined he was spending that quiet in another woman's kitchen. That afternoon, Megan posted again. Her daughter was holding a drawing and running toward the camera. Megan laughed and said, "Wait, let him finish helping your brother." The camera shifted. In the microwave reflection, I saw Andrew's face. Not clearly enough for a stranger to prove it. Clearly enough for me. I dropped the phone onto the couch and just stared at the wall. After that, I stopped pretending this was a coincidence. I went through everything I could find. Receipts. Calendar entries. Old texts. Work trips that matched Megan's older videos. Weekends he said he had to help someone with a project. Nights he claimed he was too tired to call. I was not looking for one mistake anymore. I was looking for the shape of the whole lie. And it was bigger than I wanted it to be. Andrew had not slipped up once. He had built a schedule around another life. He knew when to text me. He knew when to call. He knew what excuse worked on which day. He knew when I would feel guilty for doubting him. By the third night, I had a folder on my phone filled with screenshots. I hated myself while collecting them. I felt like a stranger spying on my own marriage. Every time Andrew texted something sweet, my chest burned because I could not tell if he meant it or if kindness was just another part of the routine. When he came home from his Nashville trip, I almost confronted him at the door. He walked in, kissed my cheek, dropped his bag, and said, "You okay? You look tired." I wanted to ask where he had really been. Instead, I said, "Rough week." He rubbed my arm and told me to rest. The kindness almost broke me. That night, while he slept beside me, I stared at his phone on the nightstand. It was face down. A few months earlier, he had changed his passcode and said it was for work security. I believed that too. The next morning, after he left, I made a fake account. No photo. No real details. Just a blank profile with a plain name. Then I opened Megan's page and typed a message I rewrote over and over. "Hi. This may sound strange, but is the man in your videos named Andrew?" I stared at it for a long time before pressing send. Almost an hour passed. Then she replied. "Why?" One word. That one word told me she was afraid, but not like someone guilty. More like someone hearing a sound in the dark and not wanting to turn around. I sent her a photo of Andrew and me from our last anniversary. His arm was around my waist. Our rings were visible. I did not accuse her. I did not write a paragraph. I just sent the photo and waited. She did not reply for 37 minutes. Then her message came through. "He told me you were divorced." I stared at those words until they stopped looking real. Divorced. Not separated. Not struggling. Not complicated. Divorced. My hands shook so badly I almost dropped the phone. I typed deleted, then typed again. "We are not divorced. We live together." He was in our house this morning. The typing bubble appeared, disappeared, then appeared again. Megan asked if she could call me. I almost said no because hearing her voice felt too real. But I answered. She sounded destroyed. Not angry at first. Just stunned. She kept saying, "I'm sorry." I didn't know, like those words were the only things keeping her standing. I asked how long. She went quiet. Then she said, "Almost 2 years." 2 years. Andrew had not just had an affair. He had another life running beside ours. Megan told me he said our marriage ended 3 years ago, but we kept things quiet because of money and legal issues. He told her I was emotionally unstable and that public conflict would make everything worse. He told her he still had to travel back and forth because things were not fully settled. He made me sound like a problem he was managing. A ghost wife. A burden. While I was at home wondering why my marriage felt colder, he was helping her kids with homework, fixing things around her place, showing up for school events, and eating dinner at her table. Her son called him Andy. Her daughter drew pictures of him. Megan said he never let the kids call him dad, but he acted close enough for them to trust him. That part hurt in a different way. Children do not understand adult lies. They only understand who shows up. Then Megan told me she was pregnant. 8 weeks. I could not speak. For almost 2 years, Andrew and I had been trying for a baby. I had cried in bathrooms over negative tests. I had tracked dates, bought vitamins, made appointments, and apologized for something I could not control. And he had gotten another woman pregnant. Megan started crying. I said I was sorry too, which made no sense, but in that moment we were both apologizing for being trapped in the same lie from different sides. She asked if I hated her. I told her I wanted to because it would be easier if I did. But I did not. Not after hearing her voice. Not after seeing how carefully he had built the lie around both of us. We agreed to meet in person. Maybe that was stupid. I know people will say it was. But I needed to look at her and know whether she had helped him lie, or whether she was buried under it too. We met in Richmond because neither of us wanted to do it near home. I got there early and sat in my car for 20 minutes, gripping the steering wheel like I was about to walk into a funeral. Megan arrived with a folder pressed against her chest. She looked exhausted. Not smug. Not glamorous. Not like the woman people imagine when they picture an affair partner. She looked like someone who thought she had finally found safety, only to realize she had been standing on a trapdoor. Inside the coffee shop, we chose a corner table. For a few seconds, neither of us knew how to begin. Then she opened the folder. There were printed messages, photos, receipts, a form where Andrew was listed as an emergency contact for her kids, texts where he talked about when things are finally settled and our future. A photo of him holding her daughter's backpack. A birthday card signed from him. I showed her my own proof. Photos from our house. Messages from the same weeks he was texting her. A picture of him asleep on our couch with our dog against his leg. A text from 3 days earlier where he told me he missed me and could not wait to come home. Megan stared at that one for a long time. Then she pushed her coffee away and whispered, "I thought I was careful." I did not know what to say. I had thought the same thing. She told me she asked questions in the beginning. Why the divorce was taking so long. Why he never posted her. Why holidays were complicated. Andrew always had answers. Calm answers. Sad answers. Answers that made him sound like a man trying to protect everyone. That was his talent. He could make selfishness sound like sacrifice. When we left the coffee shop, Megan hugged me. It was awkward and awful, but I hugged her back. We were not friends. We were not enemies. We were two women standing in a parking lot, realizing the same man had handed us different versions of the same future. That night, Andrew came home late. I made dinner. I do not know why. Maybe shock. Maybe habit. Maybe some small part of me wanted one last ordinary scene before everything burned. He walked in, set his keys on the counter, and kissed the side of my head. "Smells good," he said. I watched him wash his hands at the sink. The same hands I had seen in another woman's kitchen. He asked why I was staring. I said, "How was Nashville?" He shrugged. "Fine. Tiring." I put my phone on the table and played the video. The kitchen went quiet except for Megan's voice coming through the speaker. Andrew froze. Not dramatically. Just a small pause in his body. His shoulders tightened. His face shifted before he tried to recover. "What is that?" he asked. I said, rawly. Then I played the video with the microwave reflection. His face changed slowly, like he knew which lie had finally caught up with him. "Rachel, listen to me," he said. I hated the way he used my name, like he could still guide the conversation back into a shape he controlled. I asked if we were divorced. He closed his eyes. I asked if I was unstable. He said, "I never meant it like that." I asked if Megan's kids knew he had a wife. He sat down. I asked if he planned to raise her baby while still trying to have one with me. That was when he started crying. Real crying. Not controlled. Not pretty. He put his face in his hands and looked like a man collapsing under the weight of himself. For 1 second, that confused me. I wanted him to look cold. I wanted some clear sign that the man I loved had been replaced by a stranger. But he looked like Andrew. Broken. Ashamed. Terrified. He said it started during a bad time in our marriage. Megan made him feel useful when he felt like a failure at home. The pregnancy was not planned. Her kids got attached. I was going through fertility appointments. Everything became too complicated. I let him talk until he ran out of breath. Then I said, "You were not trapped. You were choosing." He looked at me like that hurt him. As if the truth was crueler than what he had done. He said he loved me. Then he said he loved her too, just differently. That sentence killed whatever was left in me. Before that, some stupid part of my heart had still been waiting for an explanation big enough to make staying possible. But there is no healing from a man who wants sympathy for splitting himself between two women and calling it love. I told him to leave. He begged me not to make decisions while angry. He said we had history. He said the baby made everything delicate. He said Megan was confused. He said I was hurt and not thinking clearly. Then he said we could find a way to structure things so nobody had to be destroyed. Structure things. Like my marriage, her pregnancy, and those children's feelings were pieces he could rearrange until he got to keep everything. I called Megan on speaker. Andrew's face went pale. I said, "Tell her what you just told me." He said nothing. Megan's voice came through the phone, small but steady. "Andrew." He stared at the table. That silence told her enough. I packed a bag for him because he would not move. I put his clothes by the door. He kept saying my name softer each time, as if volume could change what he had done. When he finally left, the house felt huge. I sat on the kitchen floor after the door closed and cried until my throat hurt. Not the kind of crying that gives relief. The kind where your body does not know what to do with the pain, so it just shakes. The next morning, I called a lawyer. Then I called Lisa, the only friend I trusted not to turn my pain into gossip. She came over with coffee and sat beside me while I explained everything in pieces. At one point she said, "Do you want me to hate him out loud or just sit here?" I laughed for the first time in days. Then I cried again. Andrew texted constantly at first. Apologies. Explanations. Memories. Photos of us from happier times. He asked me not to talk to anyone until we had a chance to process things privately. Privately. That word made me angry. Privacy had protected him for 2 years. Privacy had let him stand in 2 kitchens, kiss 2 women, and accept love from children who did not know they were living inside a lie. I did not post anything publicly, but I saved everything. The videos. The receipts. The messages. The dates. I sent what mattered to my lawyer. Megan ended things with him too, though her situation was more complicated. She was pregnant. Her kids loved him. Her life could not split cleanly just because the truth arrived. We stayed in contact carefully. Not every day. Not like best friends. More like 2 people standing on opposite sides of the same wreckage, checking if the other was still breathing. Andrew's mother, Donna, called after he moved in with his parents. "Marriage is hard, Rachel," she said. "Men make mistakes." I asked if living as another woman's almost husband for 2 years counted as one mistake or a second job. She told me I sounded bitter. Then she said, if you were truly connected to your husband, you would have known sooner. Every piece of guilt Andrew had planted in me flared up at once. The distance. The fertility struggles. The nights I wondered what was wrong with me. I said, maybe you should ask why your son needed 2 women and 2 children to make him feel important. She hung up. His father, Paul, sent one short message days later. "I'm sorry for what happened." I did not answer. Andrew wanted mediation. He said court would humiliate everyone. I knew he meant it would humiliate him. He had spent years managing his image. Reliable husband. Good man. Helpful man. The kind of person people trusted. The truth made him look ordinary in the ugliest way. Not tragic. Not misunderstood. Just selfish. A few weeks into the divorce process, I found out he had used shared money for some of his trips to Raleigh. Not huge amounts all at once. Gas. Meals. Small gifts. Things that looked harmless until placed beside the dates. That changed something in me. The affair broke my heart. But using our money to build his other life made it feel colder. More planned. More insulting. When my lawyer asked if I wanted to pursue every possible reimbursement, I said yes. Not because money could fix anything. Because I was tired of him benefiting from my silence. Megan messaged me around that time. Her son had asked why Andrew stopped coming over. She did not know how to explain it without hurting him more. I cried reading that. People like Andrew do not just break adults. They create little emotional debts and leave other people to pay them. Megan eventually told me she was keeping the baby. She said she did not expect anything from me, and I told her she did not owe me an explanation. That was her body, her future, her decision. Still, I would be lying if I said it did not hurt. Some nights, I thought about the baby I wanted with him and the baby he made while lying to me. I could know Megan was lied to and still feel crushed by the unfairness of it. Both things were true. Healing has not been graceful. I changed the bedroom around. I sold some furniture. I threw away the travel mug when I found it in one of his bags after he picked up more clothes. I stood over the trash can for a full minute, holding it like it mattered. Then I let it go. Andrew still tries to talk sometimes. His messages are shorter now. More careful. He says he is in counseling. He says he understands the damage. He says he will always regret losing me. Maybe he means it. Maybe regret is what people feel when consequences finally arrive. I do not spend much time trying to figure that out anymore. The house is quiet now. At first, the quiet felt like punishment. Every room reminded me of something I had misunderstood. The kitchen where he kissed me after coming home from Raleigh. The hallway where his suitcase used to sit. The bedroom where I cried over pregnancy tests while he carried another woman's groceries. Slowly, the quiet changed. It became mine. I started sleeping through the night again. Not every night, but enough to notice. I stopped checking Megan's page. I stopped rereading old messages looking for the exact moment my marriage became false. There was no single moment. Some betrayals are not explosions. They are construction projects. Built carefully. Protected daily. Hidden behind normal sentences. I'm working late. Bad signal. Long drive. Miss you. I have not exposed Andrew publicly, not the way people keep telling me to. Some friends think I should. They say men like him rely on women being quiet. They say his reputation deserves to burn. They say people should know exactly what he did. Part of me agrees. Another part of me thinks public revenge would tie me to him longer than divorce ever could. It would turn my pain into a performance. It would pull Megan's children into a story they are already too close to. It would put an unborn baby under a spotlight before it even has a name. So for now, I have chosen a quieter kind of revenge. The truth is in the legal paperwork. The money trail is documented. The people who matter know. Andrew no longer gets to move through life as the victim of two emotional women who misunderstood him. He does not get my protection anymore. And I do not compete with Megan. That is the one thing I am proud of. I did not fight the woman he lied to. I did not let him make us enemies so he could stay the only person with the full story. I gave her the truth, and she gave it back to me. Maybe that is not dramatic enough for some people. Maybe they want screenshots, public posts, a final showdown, his whole life ruined in one afternoon. Some days, I want that too. But most days, I want peace more. I want a life where I do not recognize my husband's hand in another woman's kitchen. I want mornings that do not start with suspicion. I want to stop measuring my worth against lies I did not know I was living inside. I loved Andrew. That is the ugly truth. I loved him while he was lying. I loved him before I knew. Part of me probably loved him even while I was telling him to leave. But love does not make betrayal forgivable. Sometimes love is just the reason it hurts so much. The divorce is still moving. Megan and I still check in once in a while, carefully, without pretending this is some beautiful friendship born from disaster. It is not beautiful. It is just honest. And honesty feels like the only clean thing left. I still do not know if staying quiet publicly makes me strong or cowardly. I do not know if protecting the kids from the full ugliness is mercy or another version of silence. I only know I am tired of carrying Andrew's secrets like they belong to me. So am I wrong for wanting to expose my husband's double life, even if it could hurt the woman he lied to, her kids, and the baby too?